people who make that jump in business are what? It's a trap, right? And the moment you're here, it's to no avail because you now have to move horizontally towards the right to hit that suplex and then start to circle again. So that's just really not motivation for anything. That jump right there is a bait.
Yeah, I mean the whole logic of physics, right? I mean, you can't apply 100% in the game, but to a certain extent you can. Like the jump is just too far or too deep, and by the moment you land, it's like you just can't land all fours on this table.
Well, maybe you put the ground flat, but in front of you is another hill, an opposing force, so you'll be smacked down into a wall, essentially.
Yeah, so now you can see the gold standard team trying to disappoint you every time. They're like, okay, no, that's a bait, that's a trap, no, just don't do it, just follow the sign and go all the way down to the real game. It's still shape time. Because the general view of the angle, it does look like they ignore straight line, that is even closer to the checkpoint.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And well, the economic side will find a way in by paving that pathway, which also, by the way, does not slow you down in the momentum once actually the fight. So that's also another factor here. Even if you take the jump and you crash, you slow down drastically. You're at another zero.
Yeah, so there's one part of the question on the field. But of course, Team Kazakhstan now in section number two, still waiting to see if they can bring that 100 barrier mark because we now know that at least the goal standard is to get 100 in the world, but if we can achieve that, well, we're pretty good. But looks like they've got set up on 80 and now refocus themselves on the main objective, the target that appear randomly on this window. And this is where it's just pure mechanics for you to break. At the same time, hope that your other opponent goes to your target.
Yeah, it's the pivot right now. Playing the 50-50, a divide and conquer strategy here. You can see with this hyper focus towards one side of the entire building. We've seen teams go and completely split it into quadrants, like in Sri Lanka. Never have they closed it at number one checkpoint three, Axel in the previous track, and right now they might set themselves up again to break that record here for the first time for checkpoint two.
Oh yeah, but okay. I'm trying to see a trend here for this region, at least for the private end. For every section, they're really close. Like if one team reaches 200, couple of seconds, the other team reaches 200 and so on and so forth. And there's not like that one team is just too far away.
Their gun power is matched to a level. Now, would we say that they are matched on a higher end of things or they're matched on the lower end? Well, I don't know. But again, much like in driving, if everyone is at the same bar, then there's no advantage to any of one of these two. Because that's why they are down to a single moment of clarity here. 400 first achieved by Team Kazakhstan.
They're followed by Team Sri Lanka. The marking saw there at 389, so it should be okay. It should be easy for them to get the remaining numbers. And true enough, Team Sri Lanka is on the roll now, but the fact is that Kazakhstan will be first team to reach checkpoint number two, moving on to Granddaddy checkpoint three.
Checkpoint three is the break moment or granddaddy as Sirpa calls it. Um, they have to really get that one in the bag here because there are not many flying objects or flying targets to go about. If one team is accumulating such speed, know for a fact the rest of the three other teams will be on the window at the exact spot.
Now this seems to be a perfect scenario for Team Kazakhstan now. They have the most speed up target as of now, and they are first team to reach every checkpoint as of now. So it looks like they are on a perfect roll. We can expect them to finish first, but it's always the final challenge that's going to be sticky like this.
Oh my god, Team Kazakhstan again, they really have to some of these corners and the game is to optimize and every misalignment with my optimization is practiced with on you. par to even the likes of the best team in Southeast Asia so far, Team Thailand. And so with that 80 lead, they could make the difference here. But if they can strive for 100, that's effectively shaving things down by nearly 30% of the progress.
And speaking about shaving things down, looks like not as shaved as before. They will need to be complacent with 76 points while the main objective comes up, and this is going to be the toughest challenge of them all. From our view, it looks like a clear target. Clear enough for us to see. But if you're playing from an athlete's view on the phone, it's a tiny bit of dust.
Speck of dust. How they shoot it, I don't even know. It's barely even there. Luckily for some of these players, they do have the 3x scope, which does serve to them in that favor, in that regard. But people with the iron sight and the red dot sight, I don't know why they're even making an attempt instead of going around looking for ground targets, because that right there just looks like a single dot that you don't even bat on.
Yeah, so I guess that's still a question mark, right? Like, what's the best scope to use here? Is it a 3 times? Is it a red dot? Is it a 5 times? There's still no pattern to that yet. It really depends on your personal preference. So I guess that's still yet to be discovered. But I guess to answer your question as well, is that maybe as they were trying to loot for scopes, they couldn't find the scope that they like, so they need to make do with whatever that they have, instead of spending time trying to find the scopes while everyone else is collecting points.
You know what they say? To echo the likes of Bruce Lee, I do not fear the man who excels in one scope, but I fear the man who could use multiple different scopes and
Sounds like
mark.
Bruce Lee.
Yeah, he actually said scope, I think.
Yeah, sounds like Bruce Lee. Or is it Keith's brother called Bruce Lee? I'm not sure.
So I've got a
Keith
brother,
Lee.
Bruce. My surname is Lee, so.
Oh, there you go. Now we know which Bruce Lee this is.
I'm kidding. I don't have a brother named Bruce.
We'll background check that later on. He ain't getting away. But for the team that's getting away right now seems to be Sri Lanka, as they are currently at #1 spot, catching up again. As we always talk about, Section 3 is always the granddaddy round, and which teams are able to come back if they have the right mechanical skills, just like Sri Lanka.
Team Sri Lanka, where was this before? They needed this sort of run in match #1 and now need it even more desperately in match #2. If they performed the way they did right now, this was a guaranteed top 1 finish. They're beating even the likes of Team Kazakhstan. Well, as I say that, Plateau seems to hit. Accumulation going on the second station. Team Kazakhstan tries to inch and close in on the gap. Only about 1 disc away. 2 now. But it is Team Sri Lanka who makes the first exit here. 2 more for the likes of Team Kazakhstan. We might see ourselves a nose-to-nose finish here by the check line.
Wow, look at the percentage there for Team Sri Lanka. The driver doesn't even have a number. So they were dependent on 3 athletes to bring in the points and can still be the first team to achieve it. That is something that we have not seen before.
Looks like my hope to be part of these games still live. I don't need to shoot. That's one problem out of the way. There is a role for me after all, but it is Team Sri Lanka who clocks in top 1 position, and right in the second part, we will have just about 7 seconds apart. It is Team Kazakhstan now rising to the occasion. Still, across all the games that they have played, the most consistent will be Team Kazakhstan. Well, actually, that's not saying much, because consistently down below also was Team Sri Lanka, and now they are consistently on top. And so this game, it's a game of consistency, I guess.
Yeah, it is. It is a game of consistency, a game of focus. Because if you play this sort of heavy mechanic sort of game mode, like for a long period, I mean, your eyes get strained and all that. The normal human anatomy starts to kick in, and that is where your level of consistency will be tested. Can you imagine being one of the athletes that actually play this like back to back, like 2 games, and you need to strain your eyes for like up to 20 minutes or so? I mean, it's physically taxing.
You want to hear what's impressive about that entire statement?
Right.
that sounded like we fit the bill. You want to know how many games we watch every single day since we got here?
Man.
That means we are extraordinary, Sir Cloud, I guess. Congratulations is in place for us, the both of us performing for so long in 3 days, watching these games non-stop, back to back. But I guess we'll give them the consolation. At least the Team Sri Lanka who got themselves the top 1 position again. Well, congrats to you guys.
Yep, congratulations to them for Team Sri Lanka. 2 back-to-backs that we're talking about here. And we're going to talk about like the possibility of a comeback overall. But because of, I would say, Team Kazakhstan's fairly consistent performance, it's quite hard to catch up. I worry that the gap is just too big.
Well, yeah. I mean, because we're looking at the pretty much the regional finals, right? They call it. And so nobody's getting relegated. You are only playing for a top 1, and that standard should be towards the top 1 competitors. And you're right in that regard, because Team Kazakhstan, they haven't slowed down since the first match coming into halfway. The second match, still in the top 2 finishes. The overall might still favor towards them.
Yeah, number 1 here and there, if not number 1, number 2. You just make a logical average. Well, you kind of know by now,
Yeah.
right? With 2 games left. But we still need to go through the numbers, and Team Sri Lanka went to speed up. Still the lowest, but the first one to complete everything.
Yeah, I mean, they make the comeback always within checkpoint 3, so I think if everyone wants to keep them in check, they would have to figure out how to potentially outgun Team Sri Lanka when it comes to the sport of shooting the flying targets.
And speaking about the athletes from Team Sri Lanka, so it looks like we have 2 of them. We have Powder as well as Lucifer as part of the FAW Audi Super A player. And not to forget as well, 2 athletes from Team Kazakhstan. We have Zeri, we have Ifak, so both of them up there. So we got only representatives from 2 teams taking home majority of points.
Which is a good thing for them in regards to earning those rings by Audi themselves, which will be happening towards the end of the next few games that we will be playing, right? Because that would be the end of the regional finals, which means it's a wartime. And before we do get there, I guess a quick break is in place. So once again, this is Sir Cloud. My name is Keith. A quick break before we get back into more action here in Road to Asian Games 2022. See you in a bit.
关闭外来的杂音，找准内心的节奏。奥迪 Q4 e-tron，让真的感受从开始才开始。
累了困了，喝东鹏特饮。
The final stretch, ladies and gentlemen. 2 more tracks to go for this region before we crown the champion. This is the Road to Asia Games 2022 PUBG Mobile Asian Games version. Together with us, your PhD holders. My name is Sir Cloud. Together with Keith, we'll be breaking down more of the game action for you guys.
Yeah, but do not take that one to the back here because the name PhD in our sense does not stand for anything. So please take it with a grain of salt. I know you understand this. What's the word here? Humor, right? That's the word. But what we're not joking about and we're not humorous about is the fact that this is the last stretch here for Central and South Asia to finally close things out, to set themselves apart from the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 2 more games to go, right? Because we don't get like the overall from game to game, so it's anyone's guess who will actually be the number 1 by the end of the day, and of course, who will be the top MVP. But so far, based on all logical rankings, Team Kazakhstan is looking to do well, but for Team Sri Lanka, because of their back-to-back first place finish, who knows? It could be a surprise ranking for them.
Yeah, they could just push themselves up all the way to the second spot here as now the initial second spot holder goes to the side of Team Kyrgyzstan, who arguably is less than 1 minute away in terms of the overall. So with this back-to-back performance by Team Sri Lanka of a top 1 finish, that is looking very likely. We might have ourselves a new second place team.
Ooh, and we love drama. We love the comeback stories. We love all these kind of stories. It's going to be interesting for us to tell as well for our viewers to watch, because I'm sure a lot of people at home are anticipating to know who will exactly be the winners or who will actually take what place as we head on to track number 3. The track that start off with 2 bridges as the choke point. Here we go.
This bridges will serve to them as the thing that propels them towards the number 1 spot or potentially hold them back. It really depends on how they play this thing out. But one thing that we can expect, I do expect to see Team Kazakhstan to lead in the front, especially during these travels. Team Sri Lanka, great in checkpoint 3, but in the other checkpoints or even the travel towards that checkpoint, almost always they find themselves trailing behind the rest.
Yeah, kind of bumpy when it comes to like the earlier stages. It kind of reminds me of Team Palestine, whereby when it comes to the third checkpoint, they excel. But before that, it's just okay for them. But that's also their secret to success, and they top the regional charts. And that's where all matters at this point. It's all about playing objectively.
And talking about being objective, Team Kazakhstan has to ingrain themselves with the objective of optimizing their travels. So far, they are the team that is taking the lead, but then always fumbles it down within these travels and make way for others to try and overtake. And this time round, surprise, surprise, Team Kazakhstan trails behind. It is Team Nepal in the lead together with Team Sri Lanka.
Oh, despite Team Kazakhstan having the most speed up targets, but maybe when they use the speed up targets, it's not at the right timing. So that is something that the team also need to work on. As for the team in the forefront, Team Nepal, far the highest, only 4, but in front. At the end of the day, it's all about that. It doesn't matter how many speed up targets that you hit, but if you're in the front somehow, that is all that matters.
Yep, that is all that matters, or at least towards creating that lead into the next checkpoint. That is where, honestly, most of these seconds really does count. You want to be the first within checkpoints to be able to rake up enough lead and set you up greatly for the next. And that is exactly what these teams are trying to perpetuate and do upon themselves. Easier said than done. And now, whoop, it seems like the ones in yellow here, Team Kyrgyzstan, might just find themselves into a stumbling block.
Oh, yes, but an opportunity here for Team Sri Lanka to overtake the 3rd place, which was Team Nepal. Now they are at 2nd place. But then again, the gap is not that far as all these teams arrive onto the first checkpoint in about the same timing.
Yeah, but Team Kazakhstan will get to exercise their plan A, being the first within the entire compound, drop key members within key locations that oversees some of these rotating targets or fixed on-ground fixtures here that they can pretty much build a lead from the get-go.
Okay, there you go. The designated drivers are all fueling up because that's also very, very important. We saw that a couple of times before when the designated drivers fail to fuel up the vehicles as when they want to move to the checkpoint, which is, for the most case, from checkpoint number 3 to the finish line, that always seems to be, that always seems to happen. I wonder why that particular checkpoint as compared to the others. It's still something for us to discover.
Yeah, that is when you gotta really dissect the entire map layout to be able to find the answer to that one. And so I think this is where I will be returning my PhD on Sir Cloud. That's not the kind of homework I would want to take home, but hey, if you want to do your own take-home study test, you're welcome to do so. Understand the game a little bit more further. But what I do understand is they need to capitalize 120 seconds before this is activated to set them up for better position, and it is Team Kyrgyzstan, despite being the last one in, getting the most of the work done in 120 seconds.
Oh yeah, so let's see if we can get a new challenger into the overall charts here. Team Kyrgyzstan now trailing behind Team Kazakhstan as they overtake Team Kyrgyzstan, probably because they managed to shoot down one of the mini objectives here, which is the airdrop. They can bring down 40 points, and that is quite, that is a lot there. So from what I observed as well from the other teams, they will always have this designated shooter because the airdrop will always appear at the start, so that one person will be designated to take out the airdrop first. But of course, you need to get the person who has probably the fastest flick. Yeah, fastest flick, fastest reaction time, because you're competing with the other teams to get that airdrop.
And when you're talking about the fastest flick, you need to acknowledge the fastest team right now. I'm sure some of the translations will go there in terms of the mechanical performance and competency, and that looks more likely than not Team Kazakhstan already making their way into the next checkpoint. And when you're talking about the flicks, I believe we should have, honestly, a statistics that shows the percentage on which a team secures a loot box for themselves, because that would be a difference maker.
That would be an interesting stat to have. And another stat, if we have that opportunity, right, is I would like to see like accuracy versus points collected.
Oh,
Yeah, like
shots fired versus shots hit.
shots fired versus shots hit. Yeah, that could be one as well. Yeah, that could be. So just to see how efficient they are in terms of utilizing their bullets, because especially on the moving targets, that is where most of the bullets will be expanded, including the final challenge.
That's actually a good idea. We've just bypassed PhD into product developers themselves.
Oh, I mean, if it shows up in the future, you know where it came from.
You
right?
know where it came from. It came from here first, regardless of what time, what date it was conceptualized according to the back end work. You know.
Gonna stamp it now, right? Gonna stamp it.
But we can't stamp anything just yet until Team Kazakhstan officially walks past the checkered flag finish line, in which they will still have to go through checkpoint 2 and 3 to get there. And so they will now advance towards checkpoint 2. First one in. What can they do within 120 seconds?
Ooh, 120 seconds. Well, if it's the gold standard, of course, it's going to be 100 points and above. But averagely, what we see in this region, probably range around like a 60, 70, maybe even 80. And that is for the most. There's probably only once we saw 100-ish points. So it's a rare occasion. But based on the practice of this region, if any team were to be able to hit like, let's say, 80, I think they would have hit at least the regional standard.
Okay, so let's call it right here, right now. 100 is the gold standard.
Yep.
80 and up is the silver standard.
All right.
Anything less than that, bronze standard.
Man, this is the Keepology.
This is the, I don't know, this is
Keepology.
labeling scorist, I guess. Well, we'll see where they fare in terms of that standards being put down here, as now Team Kazakhstan, the ones in red, yes, they will be going towards the moving target. And you mentioned this is where the most points within targets are being allocated for.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which angle that you take. Even if you want to try and utilize that sort of angle whereby if you stand on a straight line, it looks like it's not moving. It's fine. It's still worth the same amount of points. Even if you want to challenge yourself to shoot this far, it's still the same amount of points. But that could be the strategy why he positioned himself that far is because he's closer to the platform where the main objective comes.
Yeah, and well, that blocks it. Team Kazakhstan with a bronze standard lead build in here in checkpoint number 2. So maybe not the most ideal of starts, but same can be said to the rest of the team starting with a bronze standard lead. Now they will have to go against head-to-head to try and make it that difference here. 132 out of the 400 already, but right behind them, Team Sri Lanka looking again very scary with the consistency they're pulling out. This is a total revamp of the team that was before.
Yes, this seems to be like the team that, well, we didn't get to watch the broadcast in which they played the close qualifiers and got the number 1 spot to qualify directly onto the finals. Looking good so far for Team Sri Lanka, but Team Kazakhstan is still giving them the challenge. They got number 2 twice in a row. They want that number 1 spot back, and they will want to take it right now with the points collected based on how they're currently performing.
They're performing spectacularly, but that lead can only be there for so long. Right now, 290 already in the points. Neck and neck with the accruing scoreboards. 7 points away. Now take that down to 2. Team Sri Lanka, they are looking to make that bypass really soon, and it's going to happen if Team Kazakhstan doesn't expedite the lead even further. But they will be the ones first with the 400 markings. There's some downtime still in which Team Sri Lanka has yet to hit that 400 mark, and so they have to try and make the gap right here, right now.
Okay, here we go. The first team to officially leave the challenge is going to be Team Kazakhstan challenge number 2 heading on to challenge number 3. So this track is arguably one of the rockiest tracks. As you can see on the minimap itself, there are 2 sharp corners between track 2 and track 3, as now they would need to go past by all those corners to meet to reach the next objective. As for the other teams, looks like everyone's done. And we got 2 teams here side by side. There's going to be Team Kyrgyzstan and Team Nepal neck to neck with each other.
Neck to neck, you do not really want to see that happen here, especially if you're the team who is looking to maintain your lead onto the top end or even looking to bypass. You want to be taking them by the mile, but this is going to impede on that objective.
Again, the trend for this region is pretty much the same. There's always mishaps when it comes to driving for some reason.
Oh my god, again.
Well, yeah, as when we were talking about it, another one had to happen. So, I don't know. There needs to be a lot of study for this region, especially when it comes to competing with the others.
There we go.
Yeah, in one sentence you get 3. How about that?
Back to back, they just starts to crumble, fumble things up here. I mean, I'd like to think that they're on the joystick, but they're really not, and that's exactly why they're probably just fumbling all these I guess, rotations, you could call them. I wonder why that is, but I could also say that maybe because they're not on a Q4 e-tron by Audi.
Oh, yeah. Maybe in the next, when it comes to the Asian games, it's a little bit nice to have that skin. So at least they'll be actually driving that, at least in game, and get the full experience. And that could probably save them a couple of flips.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think it'd be pretty handsome to have the skin on top of these vehicles, make it an official vehicle.
Oh yeah.
Here for this this league this time around, the Road to Asian Games 2022, or by then the actual Asian Games 2022.
Yes. So that's another idea. Just put it out there. You know, if it happens,
Came here first.
came here first. I'm gonna seal the deal. The contract papers are signed. But for the other athletes, well, they need to make do with whatever that they have. And for all you know, right, if you change the skin to an Audi, maybe the game mechanics will change as well. Like because the shape of it is different. Like the size is different, so the way you land may be different. Like teams need to relearn everything again. I just
Wait,
think
so the actual shape plays into the physics?
maybe Well,
What, did they
Oh.
actually go in that deep within this game?
well, yes, I would say.
Really?
Yeah, I would say yes. It's because like, okay, can you imagine like if it's the body of the vehicle is longer, right? Can you imagine? Okay. if the body
Okay,
of the
okay.
vehicle-
If it's longer, I get it.
You're right.
But is the game code looking at it as a box that's moving, or do they actually trace the shapes and dynamics?
I guess this is where the question of the hitbox that only the developers can tell us. But from a viewer's perspective, I would say it would.
Okay.
Yeah, but of course, until it's actually done and it's experimented, then well, we'll never know.
But we would never know and never would have seen this coming as well. That is Team Sri Lanka once again, 3 games in a row. Surely, this is not the same thing that we're looking at here. They hit the 100 already in the mark here. First one there, which
Wait.
means all the rest of the other teams not getting there just yet.
Dude, I have a feeling that Team Kazakhstan is out of gas. Like that athlete had the vehicle just in front of the gas station, but he stopped. And he stopped for quite a while on visual. So this could be an indicator that, okay, this is the one. He can't start his vehicle.
Oh no!
He's out of gas.
No!
Team Kazakhstan, no!
Team Kazakhstan, really? At this very moment, you literally had 2 more games to go. Where
Yeah.
did it went wrong?
Oh no, that means irregardless, if it is true that they're out of gas, they will be on foot till the finish line.
This chapter number 3, this checkpoint 3, I swear, Team Kazakhstan, why do you keep doing this to yourself? Yesterday when they played during the qualifying seeding stage, the same thing happened. Track number 3, they were with a 25 minutes because they ran out of resources or petrol and fuel, and right now, if this is the case, they are definitely going to lose the number 1 spot because last I checked, the differences between the overalls were at least less than 5 minutes apart.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't help as well that they're currently at number 4 in the points collected. So the time is going to drag even further because of that. Now, I'm sure they would have communicated with each other in game like, guys, you're out of gas. And then all be like, what? I mean, how are you going to be motivated to hit the targets after knowing the news?
I think they should be even more motivated after finding out, because this is what they should do. They should get all these points down, get the 500. Each member hops on top of the car of another player.
Oh.
Hits a ride, right? You take your chances. Could that be? Because you never know who's the team who's going to make a move first, or you be the team who's waiting on the downside and expect the next move from the rest of the team. Whoever enters the car first, that's where everyone jump on and hitch a ride.
Oh yeah, that was the it was the
That
exact
was
same
them.
region within this. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was still them.
Oh man, are they gonna repeat the feat again? Okay, alright. So right now closest to Team Kazakhstan is Team Kazakhstan. And Team Kazakhstan now at number 4. So I don't know, man, I don't know. Is that like a truce or something that they will have?
No, I think they just fumbled this one so hard. Now you would have said that there was no way Team Sri Lanka would have bypassed the number 1 spot by just having, another top 1 finish here in game number 3. Sure, that is true. Until the fact that Team Kazakhstan is losing in this fashion within this track, then now it's super possible because now you're adding so much time into your travels.
Right, so now it's a question of how much time at the other day, right? Oh man, that is the worst case scenario to have. And interestingly, it always happens on track 3, somehow.
It is the biggest track.
It is. But, yeah, track 3 and also section 3. Like always the last one towards the end. Can you imagine if that happens like on the first section? Like, that would be absolutely insane. Like, you need to run the entire rest of the track, which is like, what, 75% of it.
If this happened to them in the first track, I would be questioning their existence here right now. Because how do you be so irresponsible to burn that gas, especially in track number 1 itself? But The results are in for at least the top two. This time round, tables have been flipped. 17 minutes for Team Sri Lanka, 17.12 goes to Team Nepal. And now, trailing behind, has got to be Team Kyrgyzstan, potentially closing in at the 18-minute mark, but still, Team Kazakhstan is where the majority of that question mark will rise.
Well, looks like they're not going to be hitching a ride. I think everyone has left section number 3. So that means they'll be running all the way. So now it's going to be a question of like how much time will they take. At the end of the day, it's like, no, it's all for yourself, man. I mean, Team Kazakhstan, to be fair to them, they can still be the champions and potentially be the MVP.
It really depends on how soon they can close this. We'll see what the marginal difference are from the number 1 spot here. If maybe a 3-minute difference, maybe they still stay at number 1. But if it was more than 5 minutes, I doubt that's going to be the outcome.
You know what? I had this thought. What if there was a stamina implementation in the game? Like if you run, okay, because there's 2 different levels of running, right? Like you run or you sprint. So if you sprint, you use stamina. And if you run out of stamina, you need to only run. That will be even more punishable. My devil's horn is out right now.
Why would you introduce and implement mechanics in managing resources when they're failing to manage this one right here? You really think more responsibility was going to help them win the game?
I am just evil that way. I'm just evil. But hey, is this what I'm thinking?
They're refueling. They went back to refuel.
Wait, what?
They did not have enough petrol to move on forward, even into the finish line.
What?
They decide to go back for a refuel, and then they're gonna make it down to the finish line. You know, at that point, it's redundant. Just wherever it dies, leave it there and walk.
Run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna have another theory, right? Midway, they had that second thought. Was like, hey, they helped us the last time. Why don't we help them again? Or something like that, right? And they were like, but for them to go back, pick them up, go to the finish line, they must refuel. But looks like it's not the case. That means they didn't have enough fuel to finish it. They didn't mean to pick them up.
They didn't pick up anyone. They literally
man.
just turned back because they're out of fuel, and I would argue this probably took a little bit more time than just making a run for it towards the last stretch.
Bruh. This is the first time that we see that, midway, guys, I forgot to refuel, but we got enough to go back, but not enough to finish.
And
What
it
say
just,
you guys?
it just so happened to be Team Kazakhstan and Team Kyrgyzstan. Now these two always mimics each other in terms of their firepower, in terms of their rotation and the path taken. And now even nearly the tragedy was shared across the two. That is for sure Team Sri Lanka is going to take the number 1 spot, because this is a little bit too long of a time. 21 minutes already. I know Choo Choo's going to be so happy that this time it was her gut and her bones that told her that Team Sri Lanka was going to do it, and they did. They didn't earn it, though. Let's make that really clear. It was a tragedy that happened.
Yep. I will be clear to deny that as well. I'll be clear to deny that this is also because of a tragedy.
Yeah.
That was unwanted,
Yeah.
unprecedented. Imagine if it wasn't because of this, it will be a different conversation that we're having.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
But looks like we're going to enjoy the scenery for now. Just like the athletes as well.
I mean, I don't know how long can their thumbs hold down the forward button as they're trying to push their way through this finish line itself. It's probably numb at this point.
If they didn't push it to the end.
Yeah.
Okay, because if you push it to the end, it like locks.
Oh.
Yeah, but if they're like, okay, I just want to, yeah, for some reason.
Well, I could imagine for the rest of the teams waiting within this lobby right here.
Yep.
I think we might see a lot of the referee notice coming up next, because if I were them, just waiting for this to take its course. You can't ask me to not unauthorizedly leave the entire game screen and you know go on to different apps just to like kill time.
Oh, right. Like, okay, I'm just sitting there, probably talking to my mates.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
about it. Yeah, so anyway. But at least the good news is it's not 25 minutes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But also the bad news is they're not looking. You don't need 25 minutes to lose the top one position.
Okay, but there's only 3 of them here.
So where's the one?
Where's
more?
the one? Where's the other one? How far is he? I'm having a lot of questions now. Okay, let's let the final guy pass through.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, okay.
The lone warrior.
There's always that one, you know, in the family
Mhm.
of brothers and sisters, there's always that one sibling that does something different.
The black sheep.
And there you go.
Like, well, why is he out here? Did he not get the memo that they were gonna make a run for it?
Was he still shooting targets? Hey guys, I'm getting points, guys. We're doing good. Dude, we left.
Well, that's so odd. I swear I saw 4 of them making the travels together. Well, how on earth did this one guy just sat out here the entire time, throwing a tantrum most likely because I'm probably that he really worked hard towards checkpoint 3, and then
Just
the
what
driver
happened?
just go, oops.
Oops. And like, dude, I collected like 400 points out of 500. And you're telling me that? Dude.
Oops.
It's like, oops. And it's like, I'm not moving, guys. You guys have to all wait for me now.
So
And
the
not
good,
only
the
that,
good
it's-
news now disappear because we might hit into 25 minutes.
Well, yeah. Now, because of that.
Yeah.
Dude, might as well make it 30 minutes, right? Because
All the way.
okay, just to feel a curiosity of what happens if it hits the 30 minutes.
Yeah, just go all the way.
Might as well.
There's no relegation.
Yeah.
All the way.
All the way. Might as well. 30 minutes. We can wait for the next 5 minutes. That's fine. Okay, he's getting the high five. He's getting the high five.
Pass the baton.
Yeah,
There we go.
there you go. Now you know who's not going to be offended on social media.
Yeah, these two,
These
thick
two-
and thin.
Yeah.
The other ones, only there for the good times, it seems.
Oh man, so yeah, so
There
there
we
you go.
go.
Yep, the applause, ladies and gentlemen, we do hear it behind the scenes, the applause for these teams, these athletes finally completed their mission.
Team
25
Sri Lanka, I think this is them sighing of relief. They know they're making it at this rate. So much time wasted going and piling up onto pretty much Team Kazakhstan's overall. Again, it was track 3 from yesterday that Team Kazakhstan as well went the same fate. So it seems like they didn't learn from the situation.
Well, yeah. That's all I could say, right? Like, how else can we elaborate that? I don't know, lack of focus, last game thing, thinking of home thing. I don't know. There's so many things that we can theorize about. But anyway, it is 17 minutes for Team Sri Lanka with, again, the least amount of speed up used. But a 25 minutes for Team Kyrgyzstan.
So Team Sri Lanka needed to overcome 2 minutes to be in the top 1. Now they have 8 minutes. Well, minus the 2 lead that maybe Team Kazakhstan had previously. Oh no, that was Kyrgyzstan.
Oh yeah,
Right.
that was Kyrgyzstan. Yeah,
Oh,
there you go,
yeah.
there you go, yeah.
Yeah, that is all right. Then Team Kazakhstan pretty much unfazed, I think.
I would say yeah. On a logical rough calculation, yeah, I would say. Yeah. But what we're all faced is the FAW Audi Super A player with Zeri leading the charts this time, 590 score, way above the others that the second highest will be 434. So yeah, doing well. I mean, overall, he's been ranking the points. But then again, that was a very eventful round, I would say.
Very eventful. I mean, just when you thought things gonna go bad, you have your entire team crawling on all 4s and running on all 2s actually, and then that should have been the end of the nightmare. But then you have one member from the back end unknowingly, don't know what he did, but he never left his spot, it seems. And so here we go, 25 minutes again. for this region. It just seems that you can't have one day without one of these events happening.
That one sibling that wants to rebel. It's like, nope, it's your fault. I got the most points, and I know it. And now you guys have to break me this kind of news. Nope, you guys gotta wait for me next.
But you know what's like unfortunate about that? They were the ones under interview with Tash earlier on, and they said that they are out of 10 ready and prepared for it. And well, this to come out right after that interview just feels a little bit dulled down.
Is it because of interviewing with Tash?
Oh my God, it is Tash.
I mean, is it? Yeah. I mean, don't always put it on the caster's curse. You gotta pass it to the host as well. You gotta share some love with the host.
It's the hostess curse.
Hostess curse.
Poggy Walkers, Tash.
Oh man,
Pretty
Tash.
much laid a curse upon the Team Kyrgyzstan, and here they are. One of the worst performances, I guess, within match number 2.
And it's Tash.
Ah.
Oh, Tash.
I knew it. I could
Yeah.
almost smell the funny business behind it, you know.
Yeah. So after this, everyone's like, "Oh, do you want to take it with who?" Okay. I need to go to the loo. I want to grab a drink. I'm not ready. Get someone else.
I'm telling you, man, that right there does not reflect well on Tash.
Yeah, Tash, it's time for you to reload your mojo. And
Yeah. What are you putting on these people? Hexes and croxes and whatever.
It's because it's the last day, right? So I mean, Tash is just throwing her.
But good thing is,
Yeah.
it wasn't Team Kazakhstan.
Yeah.
So if it was Team Kyrgyzstan, then it's alright. Team Sri Lanka, they're first, sure, that would have gotten them closer again. Team Kazakhstan, they came in third, so that might bite a little bit onto their own back, but still doable to create that lead in track number 4. So it's not done and out just yet, because the closest competitor towards the top 1 position is only Team Sri Lanka and Team Kazakhstan.
Yeah, it's down to the wire too, right? So will it be Team Choo Choo or will it be Team Key to get the prediction right?
I don't know, my bones is telling me,
Are you still confident about your prediction?
well, my bones has never been wrong just yet. And
Whoa.
I think my bones is showing this way. Team Kazakhstan.
Sticking to your gut. We didn't talk about guts yesterday.
Yeah.
It didn't turn out well for me. But maybe yours is better than mine.
That's because I had beans for the breakfast. You guys should really try that one.
Oh.
The hotel beans is not bad.
Not everyone gets to try though. I mean, unless they happen to be in the same hotel as us.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But I mean, it's literally like the dollar store baked beans you can find in a can. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay, breakfast of champions, they say.
Hey, they say beans give you gas, and with gas, expulsion gives you a good tummy.
With gas, you will have enough gas to finish the line. That's what you're trying to say?
Yeah, well, I mean, it works out,
Dude.
didn't it?
The irony of it. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, okay, it's gonna be the last game, alright? It's gonna be the last game. Assuming that Team Sri Lanka gets another first place finish. How close do you think they are to being the regional champion?
Oh,
Like on a
Regional
rough logical thought.
like trajectory-wise, I don't know. I still think that perhaps there's still a lot to learn. I know I'm fumbling my words here because I'm trying to thread very lightly in trying to address these things. Because think about it.
Alright.
To be a regional champion, you kind of need that sort of consistency. And for them to be consistently at the 4th place in match number 1, the first set of 4, kind of tells a different story. But now they're consistently in the number 1 spot. So at best, even on a mathematical, logical sense, if they get top 1 now in track number 4, you would still say 50-50.
I would say it would still be Team Kazakhstan based on the raw logical understanding.
Yeah.
Because for Team Kazakhstan, they have never been in number 4 at all in the second half. So I would, I guess in all logical rough calculations, they will be the ones to be the champions of this region.
But last we checked, number 1 to number 4 was about 3 minutes different.
Mm-hmm.
3 minutes
Ooh,
different.
that's
So
tight, that's tight, that's tight.
exactly, right? Like you could be number 4, but how long did it take for you to end up at number 4 is the question when it comes to these games right here and now. And this one match is probably going to make the difference here already in the front lines. The ones in blue, it seemed Nepal uncoordinatedly making their way into the front lines, which has usually never happened so far today. Team Nepal, they got one good game, but that's about it.
Yeah, and this is actually the first time they started off really, really well. But sometimes I always say, sometimes I always say, that doesn't sound right, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I say that it doesn't matter how you start, it matters how you finish. So you can have a great start, that's awesome, thumbs up. But at the end of the day, it's about how you finish, and that is where it all matters because that's where the time will be clocked in. But not going to take anything away. Of course, it's great to see Team Nepal being in the front, but looks like not for long. It's going to be Team Kazakhstan, number 1 now. And if Team Kazakhstan gets the number 1, job done.
You might want to reframe that proverb into
Oh.
it doesn't matter how you start, it matters when you finish.
Right, okay.
That's a game of time at
Okay.
the end of the day. Not really how stylish your points were, but it goes down to the clock here. And it is still up in the front lines. Team Kazakhstan leading the pack. Coming in from behind, it's still Nepal. And in third place, Team Kyrgyzstan. But again, Team Kazakhstan just cannot seem to hold their way in a straight line.
And Team Nepal will be happy to take the number 1 again. Thank you so much, they say. They'll officially be the first team to reach checkpoint number 1. And they will have a little bit of a head start against the others, picking their favorite spot, wherever it is, in the map, as they prepare themselves for the 120-second countdown.
120-second countdown is where teams have to make the most of if they want to rise up and stand above the rest here. And it is Team Kyrgyzstan right now at the 24 pointers, leading their way into the 300th of marks. 36, nothing too high. But Team Kazakhstan, they're trailing behind despite being at least the second place towards this checkpoint itself.
But it always has been a trend for this region that the section scores are always very, very close. Like none of them is like way, way far behind. So it's always like a swap between these teams. As even like when we try to commentate, when we try to talk about it, whenever that's on board, but because it's a live score, so as we talk about it, for the most part, it switches. So right now it's still switching with Sri Lanka coming to number 3, Team Nepal dropping to number 4. But by the time I end my sentence, maybe Team Nepal will be number 1.
That is a huge possibility. We've seen them in track number 2, match 1. They were the number 1 winner for 1 game. Now it's about trying to translate towards the rest of the games here, but with only 1 left to be spared, it's a tough call right now. Team Kazakhstan, the one with the decent lead of 70 pointers, moving on to the 4 color targets. 140 is the score right now, tying it up with Team Kyrgyzstan at the very least being the closest competitor, but that distance is just going to get bigger and bigger right now with Team Kazakhstan now in the 250th.
Ooh, Team Sri Lanka, number 3 for now. And if they want to be the regional champions, they have to get number 1, at least. Then we talk about like how much time did they take and so on and so forth. So that has to be the minimum bar for Team Sri Lanka. So far, looking like a number 3 in section 1. But of course, we got 2 more sections to go. As you can see on screen, Team Nepal as well. If we compare them to during the qualifiers, they did well.
Yeah.
They're number 1, right? But what do you think has changed for Team Nepal?
Well, I don't think things change. I think Team Kazakhstan just made too many mistakes during that qualifier itself.
Right.
They had 2 top 1 finish, and then comes track 3, they ran out of gas, and then track 4, it was the driving that pretty much got them into a hot pickle situation. So, and it was just 4 tracks for the qualifier itself.
So it was also, so in other words, their success is also dependent on other teams' performance, like heavily dependent on other teams' performance.
No,
Like-
I just think that their a strong competitor was not in their A game during the qualifier, which then allows them to rise for the occasion.
Oh, okay. That's a good way to put it. I like the sentence. But now, since their strongest competitor, they're starting to put in their A game because they know this is where, if you win, of course, you win. And second, you stand a chance of getting the prestigious MVP award thanks to Audi. I mean, there's something of a high value on the line.
I agree. It's only unfortunate that because this is an esports division, players are young, the athletes are young. Otherwise, they would probably not wear the rings because they're already married and so on and so forth. And then maybe that could be pawned onto us. There was a chance in another life that we could have owned that rings because those players were married. And, you don't really want to have conflicting rings with your wedding ring.
Yeah, that's not how you're gonna earn the rings, Team Nepal, because they went into another structure again, and recurring trend. It is the last game, even up to the last game, from the qualifiers up onto the finals last game. Recurring trend again and again for this region is that driving is not their strongest point.
Yeah, not the strong suit at all. If any, it doesn't even look like they have a suit well equipped to be driving inside comfortably, much like most pro races. And so this is not their forte, that's for sure. But now Team Kazakhstan finds their way into compound first, it seems. We'll have about 26 points across. Not nearly enough just yet, but that 20 seconds counter is still running the clock, and so they have time to try and make up the differences. But they cannot walk away with just 54 or less points across the board when that activity begins, because they need all the lead they can get, understanding how powerful Team Sri Lanka is come checkpoint 3.
You know what? I'm gonna put out a banter point among casters, right? So Chuchu was very confident about Team Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
I wonder if she's showing herself again. Just putting out there, I'm not gonna. I'm the neutral guy here, right? Because I just came into the desk, but yeah, I guess.
Well,
still waiting for Chuchu to show up again.
There's a chance that Choo would show up at the desk later on. If
He
Team
has
Sri
to.
Lanka, yeah, I mean, of course, that's her schedule. But if Team Sri Lanka makes it to the #1 spot during checkpoint 3, that's where I think we're going to see her face is smiling.
Okay. I'll be the referee, right? I'll be the one between you guys, alright? When the time comes.
But I hope the case is, in the end of the day, I have the last laugh, because I'm just, the egoful guy upon this desk here. So I will stick to the brand and move on.
Alright, so let's go. So far looking so good for Team Kazakhstan. 260 points and counting. Whereas for Team Sri Lanka, 140 points. Team Sri Lanka basically Team Choo. And Team Kazakhstan basically Team Team. So Team looking pretty happy.
Looking good in terms of the lead here for at least checkpoint 2, but we all know really the head-to-head will happen towards checkpoint 3. That's where it's the make or break for all these other teams, but if Team Kazakhstan can pretty much hit into that 400 mark at first, that should set them up for success, at the very least. A fair enough lead against the rest of the competition, who barely would break into the 300 mark. Oh well, as I say that, Team Nepal breaks into that 300 mark, and there we have it. Team Kazakhstan now comfortably ahead. Surely they have to efficientize their travels here, because if they were to get into a stumbling block once again, that's more valuable time shaved upon, actually not even shaved off, added upon their overall counters.
Yeah, and you want to be the first team to arrive, because that's opportunity for you to steal away or deny possible ground points from the others. So far, so good for them.
Oh,
I just had to.
oh my
Yeah,
Why'd you gotta do it, Sir Cloud?
Bruh, I mean.
You're secretly on Team Choo side, aren't you?
Because she's going to be at the desk with me after this.
I understand.
Yeah.
Hey, make nice with the enemy. Eh? Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I have to build up to it, I don't want to get slaughtered by her when she comes online.
I understand that sense. I'm a bro that way. You know what? You do what you gotta do, Sir Cloud. Go curse them away, eh?
No, ladies and gentlemen, it's not the caster's curse, alright?
It's a Tasha's curse.
The Tasha's curse today. Today's the hostess curse. But what's not cursed is the other team so far, driving so far so good. Okay, holding my breath. I rest my case. I'm out of here.
Sir Cloud, all he had to do
Okay.
was exhale and immediately a car gets stopped into place. Well, I might have to counteract that curse and actually cheer them on here, especially with Team Kazakhstan who has the lead. Don't fail me now, boys. They will approach onto the checkpoint 3 and start that counter. A lot of these other teams are barely even nearby. And Team Kyrgyzstan and Team Sri Lanka, last place finish, it seems, coming out from checkpoint 2. So perhaps this would be a substantial lead as they arrive, and it would probably be, at the very least, 60 minutes past, I think.
Ooh.
No, well, not minutes, seconds.
Yeah,
sorry.
minutes is like
Whoa,
2
1
games
hour?
worth, like, calm down, man. Calm down. Right, I know it's gonna be break time for you, but anyway. So it looks like the two teams have arrived onto the area. It's going to be Team Kazakhstan and Team Nepal, and the rest of them joining, following suit. But like what you said, it's quite a big lead for Team Kazakhstan as they will have comfort to loot and also to gather the ground points.
There will be gathering indeed, but we won't have eyes until they do show us the amount of points already earned within their speed here. There will still remain a mystery for the time being, but team in purple, it is Team Sri Lanka who will finally join them. And just in the nick of time too, as it counts down towards the flying targets. This is it, the biggest of difficulty, the testament of strength, the make or break.
Oh, and here we go. So it's still going to be Team Kazakhstan at the front. They started off with about 70-ish points. But for Team Sri Lanka, 26 points as of now. Team Kazakhstan will be the first team to receive more than 100 points. And for Team Sri Lanka, looks like they dropped to a 4th place spot with Team Nepal overtaking them.
Team Nepal seems to be on the money here this time around with track number 4, and it's just unfortunate to them that it's a little wee bit too late to try to make a dent in the placement for them. However, still formidable is going to be Team Sri Lanka up against Team Kazakhstan, but right now they're trailing in the dust. I do want to see Choo Choo cheering for her team right here, right now, right next to me, but I guess that's not happening because it will be the last lap going to the side of Team Kazakhstan, at least for the short-term levels that we see right now.
Oh, yeah. Looking so far so good, but then again, we have seen a plateau before. And
Yeah.
when the plateau happens, other teams can catch up. So this is all about resource management in order not to hit the plateau. So far, Team Kazakhstan still not plateauing just yet, and they are heading to me. I can consider that gold standard if all 4 of your athletes all contribute almost the same amount of percentage to collect points.
Yeah, that right there tells us that right now they are on par. Each and every one of these members are fighting to get points in and therefore contributing in an equal level just to bring their team up to that 500 score points, nearly breaching into the 400. And whereas the rest of the teams within this lobby barely breaking it into 3.
Ooh, and I notice again, Team Kyrgyzstan, the driver, 0%. No numbers shown. So I guess that's, you can apply for that role.
I'm already there, man.
Alright.
I taught the man.
Alright, you're the master of it. Alright.
People say that the hardest thing to do is to do absolutely nothing. And
Wow.
I taught them such Zen message there from Keith.
Wow. Keep the Zen Master now. As the Zen Master, he's also the one to just sit down and just look. And when he looks, he can come up with the result of Team Kazakhstan. The first team, come on, 5 time, okay? 5. The first, okay, yes, the first team to get the number 1 and we'll move on to the grand finale.
Boggy Walkers, this is it. Team Kazakhstan with the 500. And, well, people say that my gut feeling and my bones tells me a different story each and every time. And that story always comes to a success Now they have to go on with the jump, eh? Not the worst of situations. They still make it past. They're still moving. No momentum was blocked just yet. They could look to clock this in before even the 60-minute mark here, but they will have to use the propulsion and boost their speed ups. But do they have enough of the fuel? That is going to be something that I, till this very day, will have anxiety over.
Oh yeah, man. Can you imagine that because of that giant hill before the jump, if you have not enough fuel, you have to turn back, like climbing back up the hill. Oh man.
Nah,
Just
make,
go,
you
just
making
go.
a U-turn? No.
No, man. Just get down and just run.
You don't even think about it, right? Just
Yeah.
Well, this time round, they are the fastest within the group, 15 minutes. And to move on next with, it is Team Kyrgyzstan, which means Team Sri Lanka and Team Nepal still stays in put.
Well, with the intention of avoiding the jump, they had to crash into one of the structures below there. Okay, they're trying again. And this time around, second time's the charm, they say. And second time around, so far so good.
Oh.
Okay, they should be on the clear now.
Yeah, they just never learn, man. There we go.
I'm out of here, man. I'm out of here.
People really think it's much easier to go from the downside. Well, I've seen so many people getting stuck in that process, and well, there you go again.
Okay.
They might just, like I said, people just get stuck in the process, and they're doing it yet again. But I don't know why. I thought I saw Team Sri Lanka making a U-turn towards the back end. Did they miss a flag?
Not too sure. We gotta get a confirmation, but for now, what we're sure is that Team Nepal will finish third. Hopefully, we get a visual to Team Sri Lanka because I'm as curious as you now.
They made the jump, they fell down, and Team Sri Lanka went back. They turned around.
Alright, somehow they took a longer route for some reason. Maybe they want to just avoid all the small structures in between the small blockers and they just want to finish it out, which is still okay, not that far away, but nevertheless, it will still give them the 4th place finish and without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Well, I forgot what the time differences were for Team Kazakhstan to the likes of Team Sri Lanka earlier on. In track number 3, of course, that's what I meant, because that is really the big difference maker. But this time around, I think there was a poor performance by Team Sri Lanka, and that might just cause them to drop the ball in terms of their aspirations to make it to the top 1 this time around.
Yeah, not only that they finished at the 4th place, right, but because that final ending, somehow they made a somewhat of a U-turn before finishing, so that would cost them a good amount of seconds. So I guess with that, it's I think the results are obvious. But let's go through the current results first. Team Kazakhstan, the number 1 team to finish, not the highest of speed ups earned, but still objective done. They're still number 1.
Yeah, objectively speaking, when you're up there at 15 minutes, that is something to be proud of. You're pretty much already better than half the entire West Asian region, and we're talking about an entire region behind you. Same can be said with potentially Southeast Asia.
Yeah, actually that's true. I mean, the most improved region is definitely this one. So can you imagine the trajectory of improvement? If they continue to improve, they will be one of the teams, or maybe one of the dark horses, to maybe put up a challenge to East Asia in the Asian Kings later.
Yeah, but for now, that would conclude all 8 tracks that were played. 4 tracks to be exact within a set, 2 set that makes up match 1 and 2, and now we're going to go and find out who the overall is and who the MVP is for the Super A player, brought to you by Audi.
Yeah, who will it be? Okay, the one that will take home the ring.
Oh,
the prestigious ring.
I
And
do.
from the box. Oh, I do. Down.
Now it's weird. Get me out of here.
Down on his knees, eh?
I wish I never said that. I didn't know why I had. It's Audi, man. It's Audi.
From the box, from the box, from the box to the actual ring. It's all perfection.
Yeah. To be honest, I would want the box too.
I didn't have a good look though, like on the ring itself, right? Isn't like what you mentioned, like broken into 4 or 5 pieces.
So they have 4 pieces of silver rings that makes the Audi logo,
Right.
and then there is 1 ring in red, and in the shape of an A to, I think, resemble Asian names.
Right.
It's very thoughtful, these creative strategies or creative communication that they have within their prizes. Yeah.
So that means that you can actually give them one ring per person if you want to.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, so you can give to the whole team basically.
Yeah, but then who gets the special ring?
Oh, it has to be the MVP himself, right?
That's true.
Has to be the MVP himself. And the rest of them, well, let's not also forget, right? Like, yes, the other athletes, the teammates, great, awesome, should be celebrated. But let's not forget the people working behind the scenes as well for their respective teams, the team managers, the team coaches, team analysts, whoever who is following them for this event, whoever who is helping them even behind the scenes, maybe even back home as well in their home country. That made all these happen for the athletes to pursue their dreams and actually make it happen.
So all I'm hearing right now is there's way more party to thank than you can reward.
Yeah.
So what the MVP should do is keep the whole ring to himself. Because
Oh.
I think you can stack them up and it turns into one big ring anyway.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, let's not play favorites and let nobody get anything and you take all within one finger.
Yeah, like if that one guy takes it, then nobody's gonna say anything. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you're the MVP anyway, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
live a little, live the dream you wanted to. That it's right there.
I'm liking that thought process.
Oh yeah, we're just having like really, really rotten thoughts right now. Maybe people don't go to us for therapy because then we create jokers in the world. Yeah.
Now I know what you would do if you receive a reward. It's like, yeah, I got everyone to thank you, and that's about it. Like,
Right.
thank you, everyone. Yeah, this is for me.
Oh, you mean like how you said yesterday that you would stay up the hours for us even though you finished your shift, and turns out that's because you were waiting for buses anyway?
No!
You-
I genuinely would have waited for you guys, like genuinely, until something else popped up and I had to extend my stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I genuinely wanted to wait.
So it wasn't because the bus was not available until like 10:30.
No, man, come on, I could have left earlier. Come on, man, no.
Okay. So maybe if I do get the ring, I'll give you one part of it.
I'm that one guy who would have waited for you at the finish line. Just like when you run, like I'll be waiting for you, like, okay,
Like
let's
fist
run
bump
in
the air or
together. Yeah,
something.
give you the fist bump and
Okay.
we run in together.
Okay.
I'm that guy.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're the guy who's late.
Wait, what? Excuse me,
That's,
I was here, the only one here today, at 9 a.m. Oh, okay, no,
Oh.
9 a.m. 9:30 a.m. But, enough about us. It's really about the players here in the Road to Asian Games. And Tash Bani is here to, yet again, place a hex onto another player. So, Tash, whenever you're ready, you can take this one away.
Thank you very much, casters, and I'm joined with Team Kazakhstan. Batir, the team that just made it out on top. Congratulations! Now, you guys barely made it through the qualifiers, and look where you guys are now. So, how are you guys and your team feeling?
Мы прошли довольно трудный путь квалификации. Как ты и твоя команда чувствуют себя?
Мы прошли путь квалификации. Наша команда сейчас, мы все рады. Я думаю, что мы хорошо отыграли, показали достойный уровень.
So we are so glad for showing our level of the game, and we deeply understand how that way was hard for us, and I think it was a good game.
It was a very good game, and despite that, you guys had pretty much a lot of accidents, which I can totally understand why it made it so much more hard. So, but your team still managed to catch up with the rest. How did you guys manage to do that?
Во всех матчах вчера и сегодня у нас было очень много проблем на гонках, то есть что-то не проезжали, чего-то не заправили. Как нам удалось не упасть морально и не тильтануть?
Я могу сказать, что все эти траблы были не по плану. Мы после этого всего просто смирились и работали дальше. Мы все это понимали, но мы не должны были расстраиваться, мы должны были просто идти вперед и выигрывать.
So after that moment which happened during our games, we just discussed it and throw it away. We didn't focus on it so much, and we also focused to fix our mistakes in the next game, so they didn't influence on us too much.
Yeah,
focus the first place.
that's how you guys managed to get there. So speaking of that, we were also talking about how competitive it was, right? How close it was, and in that moment, a lot of players would have panicked. How did you guys manage to keep a clear mind?
Из-за второй и третьей игры положение в таблице у нас было довольно ровное. Могли и нас обогнать, и мы обогнать. Как нам удалось с холодным настроем войти в последнюю игру?
Да, именно у всех команд были минимальные отрывы. Я думаю, что все это понимали. Особенно мы не напрягались. В этот момент, я думаю, нельзя паниковать. Мы просто сыграли свою игру, так скажем, на расслабоне, на чиле.
So before the fourth game, we knew that there are a few seconds between us or Sri Lanka or Nepal. So first of all, we just reminded ourselves that we need to play our game, and we just played on chill.
We just relax and show our best game.
Relax and show their best game, and that's exactly what they did to make it out on top. Congratulations once again, guys.
Thank you.
And we're gonna toss it back to the casters. We'll see you guys in a little while.
Well, looks like that was an interesting interview there. It's like, okay, whatever happens before this, whenever they had a bad game, especially the one that they lost, that they ran out of gas, it's like, just throw it away, just forget it and continue on. And that's the mentality that you need to have as a top tier athlete.
Yeah, I like how the entire interview, there were, in need of assistance of a translator towards the end. It's like that
Yeah.
plot twist, like, I
like-
knew everything you were talking about, you know?
Yeah, it's like, wait, what? Yeah.
But it's good to hear, good to hear. I mean, this is it, right? It's all about uniting gamers together in the road to Asian Games, especially specifically within the Asian region. And one of the ways to do that is language. And so, turns out, despite different language, we still speak a certain common tongue. And I'm glad that we do too.
We do.
We do too.
We do too.
We do.
Right, yeah. But you know what? We can't close off the show just yet. Or maybe close off the show for this region. Okay, we still need to find out officially who is the number one team.
We do.
Yeah, is it Team Choo Choo or Team Key?
Well, I'd like to not stick my name onto it because I'd want to walk out of here in one piece later on today.
Right.
Or at least, be safe throughout my entire break period. So we'll see what the overall is. And also there is the I believe, Super A Player Award
Yeah.
that we've talked about. So all this is in line. But if you were to have one MVP, who do you think that one's going to be?
Well, definitely someone from Team Kazakhstan. Yeah, I would say.
Which one?
Oh, this is hard. This is hard.
You gotta
Okay.
think about it real good.
Yeah.
But-
Okay. Give me a name.
So here is a plot twist, right?
Okay.
Historically, because every every performing team has equal contribution across the board,
Yep.
the MVP does not come out from there. Because it has to be one-sided to one player, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I told Choo Choo. In a game, theoretically, you have 1,000 points to collect. And if everyone collects the same amount of points, that's around 250 points per player and individual. So those players will not win an MVP.
Right.
So maybe you're looking at a high-performing team, not so much, but you have to look at the individuals. Team Sri Lanka?
Oh, hang on.
Oh,
This
whoa,
is
whoa,
this.
Okay.
Hang on. This is only for the second half. Okay.
Sorry, Cloud. I nearly had gotten my joy robbed out of me here. That cannot happen.
Okay, for the official standings, still gonna be Team Kazakhstan.
Oh my god!
Being the regional champions just by 53 seconds.
Mere seconds apart, less than a minute. But I'm still smiling because at the end of the day, I get the last laugh against Team Choo Choo here. Here we go, up across the screen here. It's Team Kazakhstan for the Central and South Asia region. And I do want to see one of these members take home the MVP as well. But man, are they twins?
I am starting to wonder, but anyway, let's take some time to wonder while we're passing it on to our host for the award ceremony. Tash, take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the award ceremony. I'm Tash Buddy, your host for today. And first of all, a big congratulations to Team Kazakhstan for becoming Central Asia and South Asia top-ranked team. And next, the Audi Super A Honor Ring will be awarded to the best player who had the most brilliant performance in Central Asia and South Asia region. And with that, let's have a look who it is. And there you have it, a big congratulations to Sakesh. Let's invite the Asian Electronic Sports Federation to present the award. Please present the Super A Honor Ring Award, Miss Jenny Jansen. And for now, whoever that's here, please feel free to take a photo. And here comes the ring to be presented to the winner. All right, thank you very much, Miss Jenny Jensen, to your seat. And for now, we have a bit of an interview here with the player, Sakesh. Congratulations to you once again. So may I know, what does this award mean to you?
Да, для меня эта награда многое значит, потому что в первую очередь я отстаиваю честь своей страны. Я много работаю для этого. Все.
So this awards means a lot for me because first of all I remembered that I played for my country, I represented my country, and for me it was the first priority.
The first priority is his country, and that is so nice to hear. So can you share with us all the lessons that you learned here during the RDAG?
Какие уроки были извлечены для тебя самого на этом турнире?
Так, про уроки нужно много тренироваться и тренироваться, больше нечего. И также в самих играх не паниковать, не поддаваться эмоциям и также много работать.
So first of all, we and every player in esports must train a lot. And don't forget about the aims, and also just be cold-blooded during the games on the scene, because these emotions can break you, and you as a player must now allow it.
That's exactly it, to show ruthlessness as well as courage in the game itself. Now, final question is, what was the most unforgettable moment for you here during the RDAG?
Какой самый незабываемый момент был на турнире?
Самый незабываемый момент — это когда у нас закончился бензин, и мы залезли к крышу к узбекам и пытались до финиша с ними проехаться, но у нас не получилось.
So the unforgettable and funny moment for us was the yesterday moment in the first match when we forgot to fuel our car and we were on the roof of Uzbekistan's car. We hoped that they can help us to get the finish more faster, but after the jump we just flew out. And this is the funniest and unforgettable moment for us.
Definitely was. Congratulations once again. Thank you so much for that. And for now, we're going to toss it back to our casters. Congratulations. Let's go take a quick break before that.
关闭外来的杂音，找准内心的节奏。奥迪 Q4 一创，让真的感受从开始才开始。
累了困了，喝东鹏特饮。
And this is the final region, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Road to Asian Games 2022 PUBG Mobile Asian Games version. Together with me, Sir Cloud, joined by the beautiful Choo Choo right beside me. And it's going to be Southeast Asia after this.
The insincerity.
Of course, it's unscripted. What are you talking about?
Welcome back, guys. And we're talking about the final region. Finally, we're ending this for the PUBG Mobile Asian Games version, but we still have more game codes to go, by the way. And speaking of which, we saw the previous finals of Central Asia and South Asia as they're winning, taking the throne away, which is going to be Team Kazakhstan. For now, that's the power of brotherhood, by the way.
Yeah.
Because two of the players happen to be the brothers. But coming up for our South Asia region, we have the top four competing right now. It's going to be Team Thailand, Team Indonesia, Team Laos, and Team Philippines. But so far, they are not shaken, and number one overall, Team Thailand.
Yeah, and on the broadcast yesterday, we did manage to show 4 teams in match number 2. In the off broadcast, there were a couple of teams who played. So this is the final result in which the top 4 will be playing today. And if we look at yesterday as well, Team Myanmar almost made a comeback, but unfortunately, because of their first match, they had quite a gap to actually catch up onto, and hence now we are at the top 4 teams here. Team Thailand, Team Laos, Team Indonesia, and Team Philippines, who will compete for the number 1 spot and also for the MVP.
Yeah, I do hope for Team Indonesia they are more and ready to go, because I do know Jamie, from Indonesia athlete, is not feeling so well today, but he will still be competing. But coming up when it comes to who will compete against Team Thailand, who happens to be one of the strongest teams right now. But coming up for our first track to introduce to you guys again, starting off from Valdemar, cutting across Ladrilera. We are dropping ourselves into Mountain Wave first for none other than special target, a 4-color target. From there on, we're going to cut across St. Martin into Power Grid, landed right on top of the Caddo, where you have our second mission, which is going to be retracting targets. Therefore, and we're going to go down to Minas Generalis and La Bedita, where we ended up on top of Los Leones for the hardest challenge there is, which is going to be the mission of shooting down those flying targets. Then they will have to race till the finish line on top of Puerto Paraíso.
Yeah, after mixing and matching all the teams, all the athletes, it's the first time we're grouping all 4 of these teams into one group. And well, I guess if you put the best of the best, they will, from the trends what we see, they tend to cancel out each other. Of course, that's naturally what happens if you put the best of the best together. And these teams will be eyeing for not only the MVP, but also the number 1 spot, the top seeding that will also carry forward onto Asian Games later.
That's the fun of it. You have to mix the best of the best, then you can get something extraordinary, right? But speaking of extraordinary, a lot of surprises for us today, especially when it comes to the teams coming out from their different seeding before, but coming up from South Asia is a different team entirely. And we do have to thank to all officials once more. You guys have been amazing. Our marshal, referees, and tacticians, our production team, observers, and all the managers and coaches have been working tirelessly at the back end. But speaking of South Asia, during this group qualifier, it's way different from all the other regions, right, Cloud?
Yeah, because of the number of teams involved, so they had 8 teams in the Southeast Asia group as compared to the others. The others had 5, so the format is a little bit different. They played 2 different groups, and then it is reshuffled to be replayed again, and then this is how we got the top 4 teams from those groups. So there are some teams who have not met each other at all, but there are also some teams who have met each other again from that grouping stage. But here it is, with this kind of composition, with this kind of mix, it's going to be the first time for all of these athletes. Hence, some things might change in terms of the strategies of how each team individually reacts to certain situations. For example, okay, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, whoever reaches a certain checkpoint, whoever takes square, whoever prioritizes what target, what kind of strategies to position themselves. Everything is jumbled into the mix as we will mix all of these teams into track number 1. This is going to be it, kickstarting Southeast Asia region.
Now, speaking of their usual track 1 average in the previous record for South Asia region, usually is around 16 to 17 to 18 minutes, or maybe even 16 starting off as the average. But when it comes to the grand final or the final stage here, you do know, in fact, there's going to be an improvement when it comes to those numbers. Thank you so much, Audi. Make sure you guys have your eyes towards Audi Q4. But back towards the game we go. Whoever get a great start, it's going to be detrimental if they are late, if they got themselves the first one to lead. It doesn't mean they will last that long enough because everybody's starting off with the same sort of speed.
Yeah, very, very close to each other. Only one team left behind. And right now, Team Thailand will be the forefront, but it's really, really close. Look at how close they are. Basically, side by side until even this curve. Okay, this curve, still pretty much the same. Only one team left behind right now. But at the end of the day, it is not about how you start. It
It's
is
all
about
about-
when you finish. Yeah,
Yeah.
that matters.
That's kind of true because usually the final checkpoint do make a difference, a big one at that. But coming up from Team Lao, they are late into the party but still fine. But we're going into our first checkpoint, a lot of the team open fires to make sure that they get as much speed boosters as possible. But speaking of which, we do know some teams, especially when it comes to the Thai teams, the Thailand teams, they want to have a better average. And so far when it comes to the pattern and the style, when it comes to the time taken based on yesterday during qualifying stage and during the final stage, there's a difference and we do have a bit of a crash here.
Yeah, that's going to be the first mishap here in the Southeast Asia region finals, whereby Team Lao happened to bump into one of the structures. So that will give the other teams a lead. But speaking about a lead, Team Thailand now with a perfect jump on that ramp, with a decent amount of airborne, managed to cut across all the other teams to be the number one team now. But Team Lao, despite their mishap, they are still trailing well behind.
Due to their speed up target here, will be the moves up there. Definitely will give them a bit of a booster. But still, it's not detrimental when it comes to the first section here, which getting into the first checkpoint. And so far, it's all down to who can get the most points out of the 120 seconds downtime.
Yeah, and you can see here, even though the teams have yet to pop themselves, they are starting to shoot onto the static targets on the buildings. So in order to efficientize the amount of time spent. Now, additional information, the static targets actually provide lesser points as compared to the moving bit. So this is where teams will decide whether they want to spend their bullets on that, easier to hit, lesser points, or on the moving targets, harder to hit, but more points.
At the same time, whatever works and efficiency at its best for the time to manage organization of the team itself, and also when it comes to the time that they will use and based on their separate roles as well. But on the other hand, we do have, as per usual, Team Thailand always taking the lead, but closely behind is going to be Team Indonesia. But we do know when the players and the athletes start running, it means it will commence very soon for our first quest or the first checkpoint mission here.
Yep, still not hitting the 100 plus mark as a start, just like how Team China always does. And now with Team Thailand hitting the 100 point mark after the main objective is up. And it's also important to get the airdrop. The airdrop normally appears at the start when this objective comes up. So teams can have a designated shooter to grab the airdrop because it is worth 40 points.
So maybe possibly it's going to be either Team Thailand or Team Indonesia who actually got that airdrop because of how much they jump up the numbers of the scores between those two teams. Team Indonesia taking the lead this time. And they are not that far off. Only a couple of points different here between Team Thailand and Team Indonesia. Team Philippines on the other hand also chasing up the numbers. Same as for Team Lao, but Team Indonesia will be the first one to lead.
Oh yeah, 302 points. They met the objective, followed by Team Thailand with 303 points. Very, very likely for Team Philippines to be the next one to follow up. And from there, they will go on to the next round as well. But looks like Team Lao still gathering those points, and it's going to be number 4 for them.
So far, it has been within the standard between our 4 minutes to 4 minutes and 30 seconds. If they manage to leave within this timeline from the first checkpoint, they can have a very, very advanced time when it comes to the final checkpoint. Things will drag if they start to make mistakes here. And so far, all the teams are up to par. And looking at the POV of the players' handicap with IQ 11s, looking at how come the players keep shooting those speed boosters, they're not even swayed for now.
Still very, very well. Only so far, one mishap, but that's not a big factor because even though they have the one mishap, they're still like really right behind
Oh.
one of the other teams. But speaking of mishaps, looks like we're gonna get another one, and it came from Team Indonesia. They could have gotten more airborne through that, but after landing, a tree was waiting for them. Team Indonesia, despite being in front, but that also opens up some opportunity for the other teams to catch up onto them.
It's definitely going to be Team Thailand just trailing at the back there. They already used around 10 seconds to get out from this really stuck position they were in just now when they got themselves a bit of a bump. But now coming up trailing behind, it's going to be all the other three teams pursuit towards the side of Team Indonesia is taking up the lead. But coming up from the back line is going to be all the way towards the side of Team Philippines. Happen to drop themselves at the last for now, but it's all within reach at the same time, same place as they walk into the second checkpoint.
Okay, so here we go. Team Thailand reaching, but because the other teams already getting the nearer buildings, so meaning that they need to loot in other buildings, probably going a little bit deeper, and that is it. They go in, past the first building, the third building is theirs, followed by the other teams. So the other teams coming in, knowing that those few buildings at the start is already taken, they need to go to somewhere else. So as we can see here, it's going to be Team Philippines going in a little bit deeper because they know that there's no point of stopping in early because the loot are all taken.
For Team Indonesia on the other side, they try to reach and break the triple-digit mark around the score in the section 2 here, while Team Thailand struggling to find their ground target due to how fast Team Indonesia right now just wiping the floor clean. They might actually hit the triple digit here at this stage.
Okay, 8 more to go, 6 more to go, and we still have some time. Okay, we got about 10 more seconds. Very doable, in fact. 4 more points. Could they hit the goal standard? 2 more points. And it is locked at 98, so no goal standard for Team Indonesia. But anyway, they'll be happy with this amount because, well, it's still way ahead of the other teams.
Close enough, but definitely that's going to be a huge advantage for the side of Team Indonesia of how well they proactively used their 120 seconds downtime. At the same time, some teams already divided themselves to a sort of a quadrant each for some of the players to make sure they have a better fast reaction and reflex to shoot down all those retracting targets. Catching up is going to be Team Thailand, but Team Indonesia already hit up to 200 mark, while on the side of Team Philippines, they having a hard time to catch up.
Oh yeah, Team Philippines still at the double digit, but only one more target and they'll hit the triple digit, and it will be now. But at least they're not too far away from Team Lao, so they can still at least be on top of Team Lao very soon. But for Team Indonesia, way ahead right now, a difference of 100 points with Team Thailand. So far these two teams, they are putting in a lot of work to just overcome each other and be on top. But then again, we are still section number 2. We have seen it time and time again. Section number 3 is where all matters at the end of the day. And I can say that these two teams have excellent players to do well in section 3.
So far, they're still hitting their standard amount of time required in the section 2, which is around 9-minute mark. And it's a bit lesser this time coming from Team Indonesia. They will be leaving this section 2 or the second checkpoint careful. But coming up from the side of Team Thailand on the other hand, they will trail just next to them as well. But be sure to check all your gas for all the vehicles, because we saw so many times accidents happen and happen to be no more vehicle to work. But as per usual, Team Indonesia a bit jittery when it comes to starting off and trying to take off from the second checkpoint. They got stuck once more. They fought themselves another 5 seconds there, waited a bit of a time, but the other teams will catch up soon because we're looking at Team Lao leaving at the same pace as Team Thailand.
Yeah, we've seen a good number of times that Team Indonesia actually got stuck as they drive, but no team is able to take advantage over their mishaps. So they could kind of afford some of that. Although at the end of the day, if you kind of think about it, it's about the total time collected, and it is not about like only the rankings per se. The rankings do give a big picture, but if we go to the small picture, it's about the total time, and we're still at round number 1. So with round number 1, with the first few rounds at least, you want to set the bar high and you want to reduce those amount of mistakes.
Coming a bit zigzaggy coming out from the side of Team Indonesia. A bit worrying for their driving skills there. On the side of Team Thailand, it's been stable, but they still have a lot of catching up to do and playing a bit of a swerve there. Laos on the other end successfully jumping over airborne and landed themselves exactly as a path of all the other teams before them in prior. Coming out from the Indonesian team, they're close enough. Halfway through to their final checkpoint. They want to make use of it. Oh, possible, but again, happen to be crashing into those structures in between. And this definitely, they can actually make it a shave off couple of seconds due to 3 times in a row in every single checkpoint while they're on the journey. Happen to be bumped into something.
Yeah, oh, but speaking of bumping, looks like another one just happened. It's going to be Team Lao. But luckily, they don't need to hit the reset button and the car flipped back onto its 4 by itself. And they're back on track. But again, it's going to be time wasted. Interestingly, for Team Indonesia, when they wanted to jump, that's where they boosted. Timing was great, but angle wasn't that great because that eventually made them crash into the tree. But nevertheless, they are still the first team to arrive onto checkpoint number 3. A little bit more advantage than the rest as they start to collect the ground target points.
Now, the previous few tracks in the qualifying stage, the standard being set by the Team Thailand was 15 minutes and 50 seconds at average. Can they close that up again or make it even shorter? Because we're talking about Team Indonesia right now who's taking the lead. If that happens, then making their own record in the Southeast Asia grouping.
Okay, let's see if a new record can be broken as well. So that's something that we'll be keeping an eye on because all these teams, they would have played a lot of games, of course, as we go through the official rounds and also off-street rounds and their own training. So they would definitely have refined something along the way. And we'll be keeping an eye on if any records will be shattered here, especially for the Southeast Asia region. For the vehicles, yep, looking so far so good for all these teams as they remember to refuel their vehicles as the main objective starts with Team Indonesia still having the advantage.
Honestly, if it's overall region's record breaking, I feel like it's quite a difficult and a tall order coming up from the region of South Asia because we do know for a fact when it comes to the standard, if you want to break the record, you have to leave. Even starting off the first checkpoint in less than 4 minutes. While it's on the second checkpoint, you have to leave within less than 8 minutes, or might be not even more than 8 minutes, 15 seconds. While leaving on the final checkpoint, not more than 12 minutes. So 12 minutes already on the clock. The more they are dragging this, definitely it's going to be taking their own time. But they can definitely break their own record here when it comes to the Thailand team.
Well, looking so far so good for them as they are currently at the top spot, 184 points. Even Team Lao is up there, but in blink of an eye, Team Indonesia overtakes Team Lao again, whereas for Team Philippines, trailing. But we have seen it before. At some point, there could be some teams up there placing a platoon. The points don't move really because they're reloading, refining their ammunition. And that's where teams at the bottom will start to catch up. Maybe it's also because that they are able to work on their ammunition and be efficient, and that could also give them the advantage as well. So still looking forward to see if Team Philippines can actually make a comeback among the others.
Now back towards the side of Team Indonesia on the end, even though they took the lead before at first place in past 2 checkpoints, now they push down to third as Team Lao. This is where their forte is and their strength is at play. They do know for a fact they do have the track and the control of the barrels pretty well compared to all the others. But Team Thailand on the other end, on a different level entirely. Consistency is pretty much in every single track they have been delivered to us. There's going to be only 4 more flying objects to go, and they will leave. Even might be breaking their own record if they can leave early, because so far the record holder by the South Asia region is going to be from the Thailand team, which was 15 minutes and 50 seconds.
Whoa.
Can they beat that?
Well, can they beat that will be the question. Looking good so far for them. So I guess one of the factors will be if they are able to get the amount of boosters they need to finish up this race before that timing. And so far, so good for them. No other teams able to follow through, as this is going to be undisputed that Team Thailand will finish first.
It's all about the clock. The time that they clock in at the finishing line, more close towards the 15-minute mark. Can they get lesser than that? It will be their huge achievement yet by far, and probably their best round yet by far if they make it happen. But 15 minutes already clocked up. It's going to be their best round just yet because it's less than before. 15 minutes and probably 8 seconds or 9 while they ended up there. It's going to be 15 minutes and 9 seconds, but how much the gap between them and Team Lao?
Well, not gonna lie, I was kind of scared early on. They almost skid off the road at the final corner, but they managed to make it through. So far so good. Okay, now we talk about the gap. We're gonna get the answer really soon. So Team Lao overtaking Team Indonesia, who had the lead earlier on, will now finish behind Team Thailand with a difference of about 24 seconds.
Not that far off, not even a gap to start with, if they're going to actually overtake for track number 2. But for the Razo, especially Team Philippines and Team Indonesia, they are still stuck in the final checkpoint. This will be detrimental when it comes to the overall standings later on.
Team Indonesia about to finish their task. Only 4 points left before they move. I wonder how far Team Philippines is at the moment, because the last time we saw Team Philippines, they were quite far from the others. So it still begs the question of how far are they away. But now we will look at it. Okay, we got a confirmation now. They're only 14 points away from hitting the 5-gram mark. So not too far away, but still, they will definitely end up as a 4th place.
Now, this is already an improvement and achievement for all the teams. So far, they have been getting better and better if we compare it with during their qualifying stage. Because back then, during the Philippine team, I have to say they did have a better round than this one, because it was 16 minutes 43 seconds back in track 1 before this. But on the side of Team Lao, definitely one of the best round yet. But coming up from Team Indonesia, what will be the clock when they touch the finish line? It's going to be possibly 17 minutes during that time.
Ooh, yes, 70 is for sure right now, since we are heading on to the number 17. It's going to be a question of 17.5, and that is with the difference of 1 minute and 56 seconds as compared to the number 1 team, Team Thailand. Now it's all Team Philippines to finish up, and we'll record the scores. Move on to track number 2 after this.
Now, almost at the finishing line for Team Philippines here, but this hopefully will not be detrimental, even though we do have a lot of tracks. But all millisecond, every single millisecond counts, because it will contribute towards their overall standings. But here it comes, 17 minutes and 37 seconds. So, I mean, like, that's not their best round just yet, but maybe they are just warming up.
Well, yeah, as any gamer will tell you, if you didn't do well round number 1, it's a warm-up round. Okay, we got